think the band names today are kind of, or over the last 10, 20, however many years, are kind of silly. Young the giant, Cage the monkey, or Cage the whatever it is you cage. Um, I don't get the names. Some of them are, yeah, 60s groups had the animals and, the bugs and the beetles and the giraffes and all that. And then during the punk times, you had the nasty, the Sex Pistols, the Clash, and the Jam and all the nastier stuff. But band names in the last decade or so, I don't understand them. I'm trying to think if there's a good one or one that I mean, I like some of like Fleet Foxes. I enjoy their music, but it's kind of a Fleet Foxes. Anyway, is that part of the Dismal music scene? Could be. I don't know.
What a wanker.
I also think, and Dr. Shank will probably talk more about this, the time that I was born and the time, say, that kids that were born in the 90s or 2000, I think my generation was and had the exposure, since we only had, if you look at rock music back to the 50s, like with Chuck Berry and things like that, and Elvis Presley. But I think we were exposed to, through our parents, like big band music, a lot of jazz music we were exposed to, and a lot of the show tunes that were on the telly back then. So like Benny Goodman, my father used to listen to. So I was exposed to that type of music, and that's completely different from listening to Chuck Berry, obviously. But I just think what I'm trying to say is, like, a kid that's born in 20 years ago, they've got so much to listen to with Spotify and all that. Kids today, a 20-year-old today, they've got so much to listen to that they're overloaded. They choose their own playlists, and they're not getting, how do you say, they're not getting exposed to, at least in my opinion, as much of the music as a kid in 1965 or 1975 was. Plus, the musical evolution from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, if you look at all of the things that, the psychedelic era, the punk era in the 70s, the hair bands in the 80s, the new wave and all that stuff, and who's that? Is that Alexa? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, maybe kids today aren't, even though they have more music in the vault being all of the media that's out there and the things that they have access to. And ironically, I guess, they're not really, a lot of kids today, like 20 years old, that they're not listening to John Coltrane. I've talked to 20-year-olds, they don't even know who June Christie is. They Benny Goodman, they've never heard of them. So I don't know. I think that's a part of, that was all fed into the funnel back in the 60s, 70s. It was that, that the influences, I can dig myself a hole here, because there's all this music that's out here today, so there are a lot of influences, but it's just different. I just don't think, and again, maybe it's just me, because I like to listen to classical guitar music, and I've been to operas, so, and I like rock music and I like folk music. I like all different types of music. I love reggae. And that said, the bands that I've played in and the bands that I've had, I like to have those different influences and types of music come out in the songs that I write, and it does because it's a part of my makeup. And maybe I'm wrong here again. I'm going out on a lot of limbs this evening, but I think a lot of the younger folks today, they don't have that 360-degree view that maybe I had or a lot of other people had back in the 60s and 70s when we grew up, when I grew up. This is a tough one.
What a knob!
Now, along that same line, what was that same line? Now, this is a subject that's been talked about before, and you might agree or disagree with me, or to certain levels. Leave me some comments. I'm curious to find out what you think. It's interesting to talk about, and I'm sure younger folks today will support their music, their generation's music, because that's what they a lot of them are listening to. Of course, that's what a lot of them are listening to. That's what they do listen to. But leave some comments. Let me know what you think.
What a twit!
Yeah. Oh.